What's going on, guys? Bunks here, and today I've got another No Man's Sky base building video for you, and we're going to be talking about mistakes you want to avoid when building your latest base. And all this so you don't end up throwing your controller or indeed PC out of the window in annoyance. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get stuck in. So first up, we're going to talk about your base location and why there are some locations on planets that are much better than others depending on what type of base you want to build. And of course, you don't want to put your base in the wrong location. Now, I'm not talking about the type of planet to build a base on here because at the end of the day that is totally up to you. So as you may or may not know, there are 3 different types of hotspots that you can find on planets, and these will indicate a prime location for building a base. So the 3 types of hotspots on planets are the electromagnetic hotspot, which is ideal for if you're creating a base which is going to consume a lot of power. Perhaps a small city or something along those lines, the electromagnetic hotspot will provide you with a near unlimited amount of power that will be supplied at your base throughout the day and night, so you don't need to worry about installing any backup solar panels and batteries. Next up is the mining hotspot, which is perfect for if you want to mine endless amounts of minerals and then sell them at nearby space stations and trading outposts to make some tasty profit. I have actually visited mining bases in the past that the No Man's Sky players have created, and these can give you literally billions of units a day if they're big enough. So if you want to mine minerals and make billions of units, make sure you place your base computer near a mining hotspot. And finally, we have the gas hotspot, and this location will be ideal for if you want to craft high-tech materials which require compressed atmospheric gas. If you don't know how to find these hotspots, well, it is pretty simple. All you need to do is have the survey device installed on your analysis visor, and voila! You can then look for these hotspots when you run around a planet that you like the look of to build yourself a brand new base. There are 4 classes of hotspot, C, B, A and S, similar to other class systems in No Man's Sky for like ships and upgrades, and of course the higher the class of the hotspot, the higher the output of the power, mining units or gas units per cycle, so keep an eye out for the A and S class hotspots because they will get you more. One final note on hotspots: if you found a good one but the location isn't quite to your liking, but there is a nice location just a short amount of units away, say less than 1000 U, just extend your base boundary. It's super easy, and I have previously created a video on how to do exactly that in no time, so go ahead and check that out. I'll leave a link in the description below for you. And moving on from hotspots, now let's talk about some caves. The idea of creating your very own underground bunker seems like a real awesome base idea, and of course it is. However, you need to be very wary about how you build your underground base. And by this I mean you want to use a natural cave and not one that you've created yourself. Now, coming across a natural cave that is big enough to sustain a huge underground bunker is fairly uncommon, and you may be thinking, you know what, I'll just create my own cave and be done with it. And therein lies the mistake. If you do decide to create your homemade cave and build your underground base in there, things will initially seem great. But fast forward either a day or a few days of real time, when you go back to your underground base, you will realise that it is in fact part of the ground once again, and you have to dig that cave out again and again and again. So if you do plan on building a base that has some underground part to it or completely underground, I would definitely recommend spending that little extra time looking for a big natural cave when you can build your base into, so you'd have to come back to it and see that your base has once again been reclaimed by the land and that you have in fact wasted your time. Whilst you're here, folks, it would be totally awesome if you could take a second to hit those like and subscribe buttons, as I'll be covering all aspects of base building and of course other No Man's Sky areas in my future videos, so you don't want to miss out on those, do you, right? Next up, we're going to be talking about base resources. So obviously building a good sized base does require a lot of resources, and you don't want to make the mistake of travelling all over the place and gathering all of these resources manually, because that will take forever, and you're probably going to find out you need more anyway. Who wants to spend all of that time gathering resources when you can spend that time building and making yourself a perfect base? Now, of course, there are far quicker ways to get all the resources you need and then some more. The first one is just buy a bunch of the resource you want on the space station, assuming that resource is there, of course. And secondly, once you do have a small stack of said resources that you need, just do a very quick and very simple Person Refiner duplication glitch, and like I'm doing it on screen right now. This method will get you more than enough of the base building resources you need in no time whatsoever, so you can get back to building your next epic base in no time. Simples. The next one will likely seem rather obvious, but many people still get caught out by it, and that is just learn all of the base building components you'll find will be normally in one go, so you'd have to keep going back and forth when you want to build something specific. Then of course you figure out that you haven't unlocked that blueprint yet. You can of course use that previously mentioned personal refiner duplication glitch to duplicate the buried technology components, and then you can quickly gather enough to purchase absolutely everything you want up at the anomaly in one single go. Now of course there are a few extra base building components and decorations that you can buy using Quicksilver or tainted metal on board the anomaly and space stations respectively. And would you love to know a glitch which allows you to get both of these completely for free? And if so, I've got you covered. I've already created 2 separate glitch videos showing you how to do exactly that, so why don't you check them out. I'll leave a link to both of those videos in the description below for you. Not having a teleporter installed on your base is another mistake which is very easy to avoid. Why would you want one at your base, you ask? Well, it's not for teleporting to your base, because we all know you only need a base computer for that. And it is in fact for saving a lot of time by teleporting to places from your base instead. For example, if you run out of resources, or if you just want to travel to one of your other bases from it, you can do that in a heartbeat. So I'd recommend spending literally 5 minutes to add a teleporter to your base and then powering it. One mistake I used to do when I first started out building bases in No Man's Sky was trying to build an entirely massive base in one go, and when it took more time than I thought, or things went a bit wrong, I just kind of gave up on that base and then moved on. Definitely have a few unfinished bases around my save files on No Man's Sky, so what you want to do instead is build small but build often. If you want to build a pretty epic base, just think, right, I'll do this bit first, finish it properly, save my game, and then move on to the next bit of the base. You'll probably find you get much more invested into building that epic base rather than getting overwhelmed by your project size and then giving up and not coming back. Now this next one is based purely on the aesthetics of your base. So if you have a base with plenty of power and you're powering many things, you're obviously going to have a lot of wires lying around. That doesn't exactly look good, does it? And you don't want to spend time placing the wires in weird and wonderful specific ways to look neat but not hidden. So this one is, a lot of people don't know, but there is one super simple way to hide your wires, and that's just install a wire cloaking device. It is that simple. As soon as you leave build mode, all your wires are going to be hidden. Depending on the size of your base, you may need to plonk 1 or 2 of these around, but it certainly looks a lot neater. Now finally, this is one mistake that I see a lot of players doing, and I advise every player who likes building bases to get into the habit of doing, and that is create a save beacon on your base right at the beginning and make sure you save your base on a regular basis, because if you forget and the game bugs out or you accidentally close the game without saving, all of that base building progress is going to be lost and you're going to be having to start all over again. So I'd say every maybe 10-15 minutes of base building, just pop on over to that save beacon, update your save, or of course jumping in and out of your ship. Trust me when I say losing all of that unsaved progress is totally awful. I've stopped building bases in the past for that exact reason, so you don't want to make that mistake that I did. And there you have it folks, there are a few simple base building mistakes that you need to avoid when you're creating your totally epic base in No Man's Sky. It really will save you a lot of pain and frustration down the line if you take them on board, and I hope you find this video useful, because if you did, it would be totally awesome if you could hit those like and subscribe buttons. I will of course be doing more base building videos in the very near future, along with all other aspects of No Man's Sky videos like glitches, amazing bases, updates and much more, so you don't want to miss out on those, right? Thank you for watching and catch you next time.